and welcome to a lesson on trinomial factoring. I know it's a bit strange that we actually are learning this after we talked about four-term polynomials, where we either solved using that with grouping or with box method, but you're going to see in a moment why we did that. Because factoring trinomials, which is a polynomial with three terms, try for three, is actually a little bit, has like an extra step compared to four terms. So let's go ahead. There's two ways you can do this I'm going to teach you. The first one is with grouping, the next with box method, but they both have the exact same start. And for that, we're going to use something called a diamond problem. And how a diamond problem works is that we draw this big X. Sometimes people call this the big X method instead of a diamond problem. And we're going to take a look at the trinomial. We're going to see these numbers right here. And you'll notice that this is actually in something called standard form, where these numbers, 8, 14, and 3, are the A is 8, B is 14, and C is 3. We're not going to ignore. We're going to ignore the X's. All the X's did was tell us which one was A, B, and C. Now what we're going to do to be able to factor this trinomial is we're going to use this big X and we're going to fill out these four spaces. The way we do that is we fill out the top part by multiplying the A and the C together, and the bottom part by just putting down the B. So 8 times 3 is 24, and we have 14 on the bottom. Now the question is, how do we figure out what two numbers are going to be on the sides? Because those are the two numbers we care about. This is the setup, and this is what we care about. And the way we figure that out is we have to figure out what two numbers multiply. See this green dot right here? It's to tell us what two numbers multiply to get the top number, which is 24, and at the same time add up 14. There's a couple ways you can go about this, but the way I just do it is I focus on the top number first. I think about what times what is 24. I'm just going to start with very simple 1 times 24. 1 times 24 is 24. But if I add them together, 1 plus 24, that's going to be 25, right? And that's not 14. So to mark that in red, we're not going to use that combination. But let's try, instead of 1, let's do a 2. What's 2 times 12? Well, that's 24, right? That's what we want. And then 2 plus 12 is 14. Oh, wait. Isn't that what we wanted? 2 times 12 is 24. 2 plus 12 is 14. Multiplies to get the top number, and adds to get the bottom number. So these question marks are going to be this 2 and this 12. So here's how we're going to use these numbers. What we're going to do is the next part right here is I'm going to take what we have, 8x squared plus 14x plus 3, and I'm going to split apart this 14 right here into a 2 and a 12. There's a lot of ways you can split up a 14, right? You could have done 10 and 4, 1 and 13. And the reason why we even did this X method, this diamond problem, is because we had to figure out what is the perfect combination of how we're going to split up 14. So after this, you'll notice that we now have a four-term polynomial, and we can now use whichever method we wanted in the past. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and do grouping. So I'm going to put what we have in parentheses, and I'm just going to think to myself, okay, what's the greatest common factor between 8 and 2? Well, 2 goes into both of those, and they have a single x I can take from both, just like from the previous lesson. But if I take 2x out of 8x squared, well, 8 divided by 2 is 4. And there'll be a single x left, right? So I'm going to have a 4x. And then 2x divided by 2x, well, 2 divided by 2 is 1. I'm taking away an x. We're just going to have a 1 left over. Now look at the other one, 12x plus 3. What goes into 12 and 3? That's just going to be our 3 right here, right? Because 3 goes into 12 and 3. And that leaves us with 12 divided by 3 is a 4x. Notice this, I couldn't take any x's out because the last term didn't have an x. And then 3 divided by 3 is a 1. And look, we know we're on the right track because everything, both of these ended up with a 4x plus 1 and a 4x plus 1. All I have to do now is add the outside terms, 2x plus 3 with 4x plus 1, and we're done. So this is one way to do it, and I want to show you guys the other way with the box method. But even if I was going to do the box method, I want you guys to understand that our first step with a trinomial is still to use that x. All right. So I'm going to look at the a, b, and c. You have to remember, a times c is going to be on the top, which is 44. 2 times 22 is 44. And b is just going to be on the bottom. And we have to figure out what multiplies to get the top number, what also adds up to get the bottom number. So once again, I always start with the top number. 1 times 44 is 44. But then we have 1 plus 44, which is 45. So that didn't work out. What's the next number that can go into 44 besides 1? Would 2 work? Because 2 times 22 is 44. But then 2 plus 22 is 24. And that wouldn't work out for us either. You guys didn't see that mistake. Ignore that. Anyway, so far we know that these two combinations didn't work, and sometimes you have to try a couple more times, guys. All right, so we did 1, we did 2, 3 doesn't go into 44, but 4 does. So how about 4 times 11, which is 44? And then 4 plus 11 is 15. Oop, ding, 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 we got our combination, right? So I'm going to replace the question marks with 4 and 11. So now that we have all this, we're going to take our original trinomial. I'm going to take this 15 right here and split it into 4c and 11c. Now, with all of this split up right here, I could use the grouping method just like before, but I also want to show you guys how to do the box method. So I'm going to take the box, and I'm going to put everything we have right here, right here. So now we have to do exactly what we did before. I'm just going to go down this time, up and down. So I look at 2c squared and 11c. Notice that 2 and 11, nothing goes into both those numbers, right? But I could still take a c out of this, right? So that would work. And then I look at 4c and 22. Only one of them has a c, so I'm not going to take a c out. But 2 goes into both of these, so I'll take a 2 out right there. Now that I have the top done, I can just think to myself, okay, c times what is 2c squared? Well, we still need a 2, right? And then I need another c, so it's going to be 2c. And look at this, 2c times 2, that's 4c. Everything is lining up perfectly. How about right here? Well, I already have my c, but I don't have my 11. So I'm going to do 11 times c is 11c. And I know I'm right because 11 times 2 is 22. And now that we have everything on the outside, I have my answer of 2c plus 11 right over here, and c plus 2 right over here. And that's it, guys. That's how you do trinomials. So make sure you do your homework for tonight. And so we're going to work on this more in class. Have a good day.